received teachings, you know about motivation. So just spend a little while and then I will read something from Rinpoche's teachings on the Bodhisattva attitude, how to dedicate your life to others. And then we will engage in a practice loosely based on the Chittamani Tara practice. Of course, we cannot do that totally properly because we don't have people here who have been initiated into that practice, but that doesn't matter very much because the main part of the practice is the attitude and motivation and the reciting of the praises to Tara, and of course the sincere prayer and aspiration from our side that the Guru returns to keep on guiding us, but within the understanding that we are not children anymore. We have to practice what our teacher has been teaching us, some of us for 50 years. So it's up to us to practice. If we don't practice, then you could say that's our problem, you know. The Guru tries to hold us by the hand, but at some point, you know, we are nappy trained and toilet trained. We have to do things ourselves. So I think that is what all the lamas have been telling us since Rinpoche passed away a few days ago, that the main thing is to practice what the Guru taught. That next, it said there are 3 kinds of offerings, aren't there, that are mentioned in the Lamrim. The offering of physical objects, material things, money, food, flowers, fruit, everything. That's the very good, but it's the least kind of offering. Excellent, but it's not the best. The second best is the offering of service. So serving the Guru, of course, serving the Guru is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. But it is said what pleases the Guru the most, in other words, the best way to serve the Guru, one might say, is to practice what the Guru taught. So we make an attempt to do that, to practice. So yeah, that's the hardest thing to do perhaps, but the most essential thing to do. Yeah, we all know that. I'm just reminding people. I'm not lecturing or preaching. Yeah. Okay. So thank you everybody again for being with us. So I'm reading here from a book that was very beautifully put together by Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archives, edited by Venerable Sarah Thresher, an old-timer, British nun. And Rinpoche typically is teaching from this very noble, austere lineage, which emphasized ascetic, very powerful, strong, pure practice. Many of the practitioners who practice in this way, they, as you know, they spent time in caves, and they didn't even stay too long in a cave because they didn't want to become attached to that cave. Not that there would be much to be attached to in a cave, but you know, maybe they're in a village where people brought them very nice, tasty food, but they didn't want to get attached to that. So they would then move to another place where perhaps the food wasn't so good. Whatever, it's that kind of lineage. And there's a chapter in this book, Bodhisattva Attitude, called Give Up Stretching the Legs. So give up stretching the legs. You know, when we want to relax, we stretch the legs, right? We stop sitting in a dignified manner and we stretch our legs, and we lie on the beach or whatever we do, you know, but we like to stretch our legs. And what does Rinpoche say about this? In his inimitable style, he says this: give up stretching the legs. That is a very good expression. When your mind becomes lazy, you stretch out your legs, then you stretch out your whole body in the 10 directions. Whatever you can, you stretch out. There's no rush to practice. Good vai dharma. This life and this moment's happiness are more important. It's not expressed in words, but physically that's what is being manifested. So there's no thought of how sentient beings are suffering and the need to help them by practicing dharma and becoming enlightened. So we get what Rinpoche is saying, right? We forget that. We just want to relax. We want to do our own thing, you know? And so other sentient beings become secondary. We didn't light the lamp in front of it. Don't think it went out because it doesn't look dark either. That's it there. Thank you. So that is why this line is saying, give up clinging to this life and being too lazy to practice Dharma. This is so simple to say and so difficult to practice. Give up clinging to this life and being too lazy to practice Dharma. So you might ask, well, I don't believe in future life, so what am I to do? Well, just think about what the Dharma is saying. Think that there may be a longer term perspective one could take, and at least take it upon oneself to study the teachings which speak about continuity of mind and the possibility of rebirth and so forth. That's our job, to investigate it and not to outright dismiss it. That would be unscientific to dismiss it without checking. So anyway, because this is what happens when your mind is in that state. Therefore, instead, think of impermanence, which is the nature of this life. This is a very profound statement. Again, just a few words. What happened? 12th of April, Rinpoche is up in the mountains of Nepal, smiling and receiving offerings and giving advice and lovely photos being clicked. And then next day, passed away. Next day, what do we get? We get images of Rinpoche in meditation. Of course, that's wonderful. But if Rinpoche were an ordinary person, it would be images of a funeral, you know, or a burial. Because the people usually are in a hurry to burn or bury people who die, especially in the hot climate of India. So even for an ordinary person, that is not considered so good, because the consciousness, even in an ordinary person, can remain in the body for up to 2-3 days. But then we're not meditating, it's just still there, hasn't left. The mind is in a state usually of great confusion of the ordinary person, not knowing actually what's really happening. So anyway, what my point is, on April the 12th, Rinpoche is there smiling and inspiring people in his body, and the next day he's not there. You know, and people are crying on the phone, handing on the news to each other. So this is impermanence, right? And the point is, it doesn't just happen to other people. Seems that way, doesn't it? Up to now in life, we've heard of hundreds of people dying, many of whom we know, right? And hundreds and thousands we read about, but it's never been me. It's never been me. It's other people die, you know, other people die. And there's that kind of sense, well, I don't die, you know. But one day we'll be the ones dead, and there'll be people remembering us, maybe if we're lucky or unlucky. Someone will be remembering us, might be doing a puja for us, you know, might be. Some people may be fighting over, you know, money, inheritance, property. Very, very common, very common. So that's impermanence. That's impermanence. Impermanence is also when our ideas change, our friends change, our husbands and wives change, everything. You know, our body changes, stops obeying us as it did when we were 50 years younger, whatever, you know. So impermanence, we're going to die. And then how are we going to die? Are we going to die like Rinpoche died? Or are we going to die like one Australian monk's father died, screaming and shouting and being very upset? He was a meat manufacturer, that person. So how are we going to die? And how are we going to live? So Rinpoche kept on reminding us of these things, didn't he? To think about it. You know, His Holiness the Dalai Lama was asked by somebody, what's your main practice? You know, very innocent question from a Western student. Said, my practice is to prepare for my death. So one might say, oh, that's very strange, you know, why is he thinking about death and his job to help people in this life? Well, yeah, of course, but since there is, for a Buddhist at least, beginningless mind, endless mind, our future mind moments are far outnumber this present lifetime's mind moments. So how are we going to be in the future? A mess, a confused mess, giving problems to ourselves and others. Even if we're not a human being, then, then of course, the very big bad news. But even as a human, are we going to be just creating confusion for ourselves and others, or what? What are we going to be doing? So it's important to prepare for that. Make sure we have a good death, good intermediate state, good rebirth, keep on benefiting ourselves and others. That's the main point. So we should reflect on impermanence. Everything we hold dear is going to change, and we're going to separate from it. Everything, sometimes much sooner than later. Of course, things do change for the better. Of course they do. And if we had a totally Dharma attitude, 24 hours, nothing would be, some kind of big problem. But since we don't yet have that kind of Dharma mind, we have to be very, very careful and constantly remember not to waste our time. So impermanence and death. So remember the 3 points that are mentioned in the Lamrim. And I mentioned Lamrim because Rinpoche was he was an exponent of the Lamrim, which is, you could say, kind of very much emphasized in a very powerful way in the Gelugpa tradition, Yellow Hat School tradition. And Rinpoche was a lineage holder of that. And so in the Lamrim, you can remember the 3 points, connected with death. Death is definite, okay, but time of death, indefinite. And then third point, what is going to help us? What is actually going to help us at the time of death? When it does come, as it will, what's going to help you and me? Is not endless cups of tea, sweets from Bihar, chocolates from Vienna, whatever, best friends, all a few rupees or billions in the bank. It's not going to help us. What's going to help us is our good karma and our remembrance of compassion, remembrance of the Guru, just having a good mind, a good, steady, compassionate mind. That is the best thing to have at the time of death. So then you might say, well, yeah, okay, I'll have that at the time of death. But do we have that in our daily life? Do we have it when we go to sleep at night? Do we have that much control that we can go to sleep with a compassionate mind, with a good-hearted mind? Or is it just a confused medley of thoughts and images and hopes and fears, etc.? So that we have to check. And that's the meaning of the Guru. Rinpoche kept on reminding us, ultimate Guru is the nature of your own mind, the bliss and voidness of your own mind. Temporarily, what did Dalai Lama Ji say? Our Guru is authentic literature and your own wisdom, your own intelligence. And of course, if we knew a Guru, then they inspire us, to use our intelligence in a good way, the best way. So that's what we have to do, internalize the Guru. And as one teacher said, it's only our own ignorance which makes us think that we were ever separate from the Guru. We are never separate from the Guru, because Guru ultimately means inner Guru. Inner Guru is the Buddha nature, you could say, very loosely speaking. The nature of our mind. It's the primordial nature, the Yeshe, primordial nature of our own mind. Which we can activate as humans with this good set of conditions we have. We can assemble the causes and conditions. That's also impermanence. That's the wonderful thing about impermanence. We can work with reality because reality is malleable, changeable. For example, just to give a personal example, which maybe some people I hope will benefit from now and in the future. This place where I live was a mess. A couple of years ago, it was a mess. It wasn't very nice to live here in many ways. Now, because of the effort of many people, it's changed. painters, friends, Dharma people. It's changed completely. And so it can be a place which benefits people, where people might feel a little inspired for a while. But that's in our hands, right? But it's a dependent arising. It depends on causes and conditions. And anytime those causes and conditions can change, people can die, there could be an earthquake. This is an earthquake zone, quite a high level earthquake zone, bless you. Not very different from Himachal Pradesh or other places. So there can be earthquakes which destroy everything we built up in a few seconds or minutes. But that's also something to remember. We've assembled the conditions, very fortunate conditions for a precious human life and precious human conditions within that life. But now, it can change so fast. Back row couple. Yeah. So that's the situation. Some water. Is the incense the packets of notes? Yes, it is. I'm not sure. The other side. Yes, further in the home. No. Some people are allergic. Also to flowers and petals. How many people are online? Can you check?
14.
Okay, so this is a remembrance as well as a puja. But since we're not all monastics in a monastery and we haven't studied and been taught about the text, and we don't all have the texts in front of us, just bear with us, enjoy. You have the Tara praises, and maybe some of the members can just again post that just the praises. Thank you onto the Tushita one group now that we have. So basically, why are we doing the Tara Puja? There could be any number of pujas we do, but it's partly because Rinpoche had emphasized this practice, and that's what many of the monasteries are doing. And because Tara can help us to achieve our Dharma aims, which is the best way, as we said, of pleasing the Guru. And that's the point of this puja, to engage in practices that will be pleasing to the Guru. Not as a kind of a bribe, but because this is our duty as human beings to fulfill our potential. So that's what the Guru wants. You have the group?
Yeah.
You can't. You can send it to Nidita.
To Nidita.
Okay, so Tara is the embodiment of quick wisdom and compassion, especially. She was born most beautifully in the myth. It's very powerful and meaningful. From the tears of Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara, a very powerful Buddha of compassion. He started crying. Why? Because he couldn't help people enough. As many people as he started helping, there were more and more suffering people. It's like a bottomless pit, which is what samsara is, basically. So he started crying, and Tara was born from his tears. And she said, look, I will help you. I'll help you in your task to liberate beings, to save them, to protect them, to reduce their fears. So Tara is known as the protectress who saves from fear, protects from fear, grants fearlessness. Because fear is one of the predominating emotions, feelings we have, which makes us insecure, which again leads to defensiveness, anger, depression, all the rest of it. So much can be traced to fear. Of course, all connected with the self-grasping ignorance, but basically fear. Okay, so Tara, that's why we practice Tara. She is practiced in all of the Tibetan Buddhist monasteries and nunneries. Most of them do praises, are practiced every day. And even the monks who are engaging in debate, and now nuns as well, by the way, in Dharamsala, for example, before every session of philosophical debate, they would quickly recite paraphrases. So it just shows how important the practice of Tara is. I think you won't have much luck with that one. You just imagine wisdom fire everywhere. And since Tara is, you could say, the Vajrayana aspect, so that's something wonderful, really, because Vajrayana, otherwise known as Mantrayana, Tantrayana, Bhuyayana, secret vehicle, it's about transformation. So, in a sense, it's about seeing the goodness and the purity in everything and in everyone. Of course, it helps to have a nice, clean environment and so forth. Only great yogis could do this kind of puja in a, dirty toilet. But basically, Tantra is about purity. Everybody's purity. And so, of course, it helps to have a beautiful environment, which we try to set up here. So everything is more to do with how our mind is perceiving things. So we perceive each other as beings of light, beautiful beings like Tara. We imagine that we're in a very beautiful, pure land. But without forgetting, of course, that there are suffering beings everywhere. But we also realize they have the Buddha nature, so we can also see them in their pure aspect, even if that's not what they're experiencing right now. We can see beings in their pure aspect. Why? That creates the cause for us to experience and become Buddhas who see only purity in that sense. They see everything, but they abide in that pure nature. And so then we'll be of great benefit to others when we have purified our minds through this very powerful, quick path of Vajrayana. Yeah, by activating our intrinsic purity rather than intrinsic dirt. Okay. Does that make any sense? Good. I'm just talking to myself, which I do sometimes. But not good today. So basically we pray to Tara, who is the treasure of compassion, who is the symbol of the unity of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. She's the embodiment of the Guru. She's the divine transcendent mother. Transcendent because she transcends ordinary mind. Obviously, she transcends the ordinary. She's extraordinary. So to the lotus feet that remove the fears of samsara and nirvana, I devote myself. Please bestow supreme goodness. So in your sadhanas, you can come to the bodhicitta verse. Samgyechodam, is that there in Tibetan? Page. There's a wonderful, of course, there's a wonderful motivational glance meditation, but I don't, we won't do that due to time, but the main part of that was to reflect on karma and impermanence. Rinpoche did emphasize karma a lot. We'll be reciting soon page 6, the refuge bodhicitta. So karma, which Rinpoche taught extensively on the course I did with Rinpoche in 1980 at Kapan, the 1-month Kapan course. He tired us out by teaching on hell realms, karma, impermanence, and death. So you might say, why? Why would an enlightened guru do that? Talk so much about karma? Well, it's due to the effects of negative karma alone that we suffer. Other people are simply instruments of causes that we have created ourselves. So if you have a very bossy grandmother or father-in-law, of course, the trigger is that person, but why? Why don't all my friends have a bossy so-and-so? Why is it me? So from a Buddhist perspective, we've created the cause for that. So of course, we can blame the outer person, but that's not much use because we've created the cause to have that situation in our life. if I'm suffering from a lot of disease, if the people I love die early, if people keep on misbehaving around me and being unfaithful to me, what is the cause? My own sexual misconduct in the past. I've created the cause to be in that situation. You know? If people keep on deceiving me and lying to me, why? Why do people lie to me? And they don't lie to people I know so much. Well, because I have lied. I have deceived others. I get deceived. If I kill a lot, if I have been killing a lot, even in this life, early in this life, then what can I expect? I can expect not good health. People I'm close to die. I am harmed. I may die young. People may harm me, try to harm me. Why? Karmic result of killing. And it doesn't just end in this life, it goes on in future lives, unless we purify. And that's the good news. Everything can be purified. But in Buddhism, we can't depend on Buddha or God anymore. We have to do that work. We can't depend on the Guru either. The Guru only advises, encourages. By the way, I remember one Indian gentleman who used to be on our Maitreya project board. He's no longer part of the community anymore. I haven't heard about him for years, but I remember him telling Rinpoche that he'd started doing some prostrations to Buddha, purifying prostrations to Buddha every day. And Rinpoche was so happy. He was so happy. He's like hands together praying to this guy, saying, well done, you know, so good. Thank you for doing prostration. He was so happy, genuinely happy. Realizing that even one good prostration with the right motivation can purify so much negativity. So that and reciting certain mantras and the motivation, compassion, all of this helps to purify unwholesome karma. But the point is, why create it in the first place? Now that we know about karma, why don't we try to stop killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, harsh speech, divisive speech, idle gossip, and so forth? And well, the so forth is the more important. Covetous mind, greedy mind, ill will, harmful intent, and of course, the mind of ignorance. We must curb those states of mind, those verbal actions and those physical actions, and create more positive, virtuous actions that are aimed towards liberation. How to aim them towards liberation and enlightenment? Motivation. That's why aspiration, motivation is so powerful. We cannot save the world right now. Nobody has done it yet, even these great bodhisattvas. But we can create the aspiration, powerful aspiration, and then in the future, we'll be more and more able to benefit. Without the aspiration, we won't even try, right? So let's recite the Bodhicitta prayer, Refuge in Bodhicitta, in English, and then I'll recite it once in Tibetan, just for the hearing the sound of that sacred language, made sacred by all the great people who have recited in that language, and which was so carefully translated from the Sanskrit by the Tibetan and Indian translators in the past. So carefully translated everything. Yeah. So I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. Buddha, Dharma, and the positive energy that I generate by practicing giving, the other perfections. May I attain the state of the Buddha, be able to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened through Buddha, Dharma, Supreme Assembly, by my merit in giving the other perfections. May I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Okay, so then we have the seven limb prayer. This is very important. We've done it so many times with Tushita, and it's so important. because the whole of the path virtually is contained in that. So first we imagine we are prostrating to the holy beings with our body, with also with our mind, a faithful mind, body, speech, and mind. I devoutly prostrate, it says in the text. So this is to decrease our pride and to, in a sense, it's like our selfish mind is bowing down to the noble mind that we all have within us. So the tainted, disturbed, selfish mind, self-centered at least, self-preoccupied. It's not that we're a bad person, but we're self-preoccupied all the time. So that's bowing down to the big mind, which has a very vast embrace, which is beginning to embrace all sentient beings with kindness. We bow down. So we bow down to who? To Guru Buddha in the aspect of Tara. It's seen as oneness with the Guru. So we might be confused there. If Lama Zopa Rinpoche was my Guru, is he still my Guru? Can I visualize him as he was? Yes, of course. Since we don't have access to the Dharmakaya or the body of light of Rinpoche, we can remember his face and how he looked like to us. Still, that's what he looks like to us. That's our reality. Good. So we bow down, then we make offerings. So we have some offerings here, beautiful offerings of food and incense and light, flowers. But here we can also water offerings we have. But mentally we can create incredible offerings. So the two kinds of water, water for washing and water for drinking. We imagine offering to Guru Buddha and Tara throughout space, and all of us in the aspect of Tara, we could say, all sentient beings in the aspect of Tara. Then we offer flowers. Then we offer incense and light and perfume and food and fruit. And then we also offer music. And we imagine all this pervading space, it's pervading space, being offered to each and every Buddha in the aspect of Tara. Each and every Buddha, bringing what? Bringing divine, transcendent enjoyment to their minds. Not our temporary, grasping, ordinary enjoyment which lasts a few seconds, but the lasting, pure enjoyment which has no grasping or craving and is in a continuous state of joy. Mahasukha. So imagine these offerings are creating that state, that kind of mind in all of the Guru Buddhas throughout space. Every atom has Buddhas, surrounded by bodhisattvas, under holy trees. Then it says in the text, all sins and offenses amassed from beginningless time, I confess. So we have to admit we've done a lot of very foolish things, some very harmful things. We've harmed other people through our words, through our physical actions, and through our thoughts. Thoughts also, of course, have a toxic power on us and on others. So we recognize that. And we realize it's really useless, it harms us and harms our path to liberation and enlightenment. So we pledge to reduce it, even if we can't stop certain actions, we can reduce them as much as we can. So reflect on that. One must reduce any unfortunate actions I engage in which are harmful to self and others. And sometimes very painful to remember how we have harmed others, especially those in this life who have been very kind to us. Inadvertently, sometimes deliberately. So it's good to feel strong regret, as long as one is then going to do something about it. No good wallowing in regret or guilt. It's useless. So to balance that, the next limb is very important, rejoicing. I rejoice in all the virtuous actions of holy and ordinary beings. First, remember our own positive actions. And we have created so many. We may not even remember them sometimes because we're so caught up in how bad we are. Sometimes we think that way. Think of all the good things we've done. The small actions you've done to help others, so many things you've done. You've helped humans, you've helped animals. You may have even said a prayer for beings that you can't see, whatever. So many things with your body, speech, and your mind we have done that are so kind, so good. Remembering them, lift up your heart and think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. This is direct advice from Lama Zopa Rinpoche. This phrase, how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Really be happy. And now, think about all of the positive holy actions that your friends have done, your associates, which sometimes, when we're honest, we realize it's making us competitive and a little unhappy, jealous, envious. So instead of any kind of envy, just think how wonderful it is. Wonderful it is. The way Rinpoche teaches it to the children at school in Bodh Gaya is, look, if someone is better than you at something or has more or better things than you have, don't be upset, rejoice. Think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. So you see, when we do that, everybody benefits, right? Nobody suffers. Instead of making ourselves unhappy, we become happy at other people having better than us, or doing more hard work and virtuous actions than us, who are putting more effort into meditation than us. Instead of being upset and putting yourself down and becoming jealous, it's okay, there's some wind. You can just close it actually, thanks. Rather than, it's very interesting it happened now. So maybe some of us have jealousy as a problem. Maybe I have that. So don't be jealous, rejoice. Rejoice in other people. They're younger than you, more handsome than you, more wealth than you, their car is better than yours. They have more money in their bank account. Their kids listen to them rather than your kids who don't listen to you. Whatever it is, rejoice. Rejoice, because they created causes for what they're experiencing. Good causes. So how can we not be happy? How does being envious help? Anyway, sorry, becoming a sermon. We should rejoice. It's the easiest way, according to even people like Nagarjuna, whom we remember for his emptiness teaching. He said rejoicing is one of the easiest, best ways to create positive energy, merit. If we rejoice, it is said properly, in the activities of a bodhisattva, then we get half of the merit, you believe it? Just sitting there rejoicing, you get half the merit. Goodness me. We should all practice rejoicing. If you rejoice in the positive actions of someone sort of equal to you mentally, then you get the same amount of merit. Maybe we all sit at home Working from home, rejoicing from home. No need to work anymore. Well, needn't go that far. So we rejoice how wonderful it is that my friends are practicing, helping. Those who are helping in any way in furthering the causes of, for example, the Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana Tradition in any of the centers worldwide. They are creating so much positive energy for people to connect with the Dharma and so forth. Wonderful. Wonderful. Then rejoice in really now people who are really practicing the three higher trainings. Could be monks, could be nuns, could be very, very determined lay people. They're engaging in the practices of having a very pure ethical lifestyle, which enables them to engage in shil, samadhi, the really having a mind of full attentional capacity. And with that, they are meditating on wisdom, cutting the root of pain, cutting the self-grasping ignorance with the power of their meditation. So those who are practicing three higher trainings, how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. I mean, it's amazing. The hardship they go through, conquering the eight worldly dharmas to a great extent to be able to engage in meditation based on ethics and to use that mind to investigate wisdom, shil, samadhi, pragya. How wonderful it is, how wonderful. Think of people you know, you've heard of people, you've seen people, so much they practice. And, you know, they tame their minds, you can see it. It's obvious they have some insight into reality because they don't have so many delusions. They don't have, you know, they have a renounced mind. So clear from how they live, where they live, their attitude to their possessions or whatever. So how wonderful it is. Then we have, beyond that, the bodhisattvas, those who are not only aiming for nirvana through the practice of the three higher trainings, but they've actually renounced their self-happiness and work only for the benefit of others. They cherish others more than anything in life, and that's their job. They just work for the benefit of others skillfully, rightening beings' minds in whatever way is suited to that person. With some they are wrathful, with some they are medium, with some they are very gentle and kind. Whatever is needed, whether to teach sutra or tantra, or basic path, whatever, they know exactly how to help others. Some they just give jobs to do. Others they, you know, whatever. They give presents, make them happy. The Guru manifests in countless ways to help others. So remembering especially our Guru Lama Zopa Rinpoche's life, just be so happy, think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Day and night, how he cherished others. Taking rebirth in a simple home in Solokhumbu, not far from Everest, to a simple Sherpa family, carrying on the work of his predecessor, Laudoram. Fulfilling his promise to the people of that region that he would start a school for the monks, for the local people and the monks, which he did. Now look at Kapan Monastery and then a nunnery. Hundreds and hundreds of Nepali and border people and Tibetans have benefited, and countless Westerners, and now also Indian students, more and more. Think how wonderful it is, how wonderful. then Rinpoche himself advised that we should think, if we have devoted to some really noble beings of any spiritual tradition, any religion, we should remember them, their good works and their inspiration and benefit of others, and think how wonderful, any great spiritual beings really benefit others of all the religions. How wonderful it is, wonderful it is. Okay. Then it's very important that the great teachers, the gurus, the bodhisattvas, Buddhas, they remain and teach. So the next two limbs are about requesting the gurus to stay as long as possible. So we imagine offering beautiful thrones supported by snow lines. That's a Tibetan tradition. Imagine offering thrones for the teachers to sit and teach from. We could offer beautiful, imagine we're offering beautiful trees, Bodhi trees, with a chabutar underneath. That's the Indian tradition. Not a kabutar, but chabutar. There may be kabutas in the tree, but we offer a plinth around the tree for the guru to sit on, and they can teach. And then we ask them to teach, not just to remain, but to teach. So we also imagine offering Dharma chakras, beautiful Dharma chakras, 8-spoked Dharma chakras, symbolizing the Eightfold Path, the turning of the wheel of Dharma. It's a very powerful symbol in Indian parampara, symbol of the wheel, the rolling of the Dharma, turning of the wheel of the Dharma. So imagine we're offering that to the Guru Buddhas. Then we dedicate the merits of what we've done so far is by prostrating, by offering, by confessing, by rejoicing, by requesting the Gurus to stay, by beseeching them to teach. We've created a lot of positive energy, so we dedicate that. We don't let it get lost. We dedicate it for what? To the great enlightenment. Meaning not just nirvana. Nirvana is not enough, you see. It's wonderful, but only one person benefits really from nirvana. The person in nirvana. But we have to, the job of the bodhisattva, as you know, is to benefit, is to free everybody. One vows to free everybody from suffering, however long it takes. Every being, including the beings you're scared of or hate, don't like in this life. Spiders, could be lizards, could be certain people or politicians. We vow to save all of them from samsara. So obviously we need tremendous bank of positive reservoir of positive energy, transcendent energy. So we need to dedicate for that to happen. Good. Then we can the 4 immeasurables is so important. 4 immeasurables, which we've been talking about a lot in the last few months, at least tangentially. How wonderful it would be. I will recite and you please meditate, okay? The main thing is to meditate on this, actualize it. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to abide in equanimity, free from hatred, and attachment, which means free from feeling close to some and distant from others. May they abide in equanimity. I myself will cause them to abide in equanimity. Please, Guru Tara, grant me blessings to be able to do this. So imagine a mother, father, friends, relations, whoever you need to think of, definitely going to help them develop this state of mind by, of course, first developing it myself. Then the immeasurable loving kindness, maitri, metta, Pali. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings had happiness and the causes of happiness. May they have happiness in its cause. I myself will enable them to have happiness and its cause. Please, Guru Tara, bless me, inspire me, grant me inspiring strength to be able to do this. Immeasurable compassion. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and its cause. Or we could say causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. Then a great courageous taking responsibility. I myself will free them, will enable them to be free from suffering and its causes. Please, Guru Tara, bestow your inspiring strength to enable me to do this. Visualize much light nectar coming from the heart of Guru Tara, blessing us, bestowing us inspiring strength. Wonderful light nectar, which burns away also any of the hindrances, obstacles to achieving this state of mind practice. Then immeasurable sympathetic joy, mudita. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never separated from the happiness of higher rebirth and liberation. May they never be separated from thee. I myself will enable them never to be separated from thee. Please, Guru Buddha, Guru Tara, bestow your inspiring strength to enable me to do this. And the short instruction in the Chittamani Tara Sadhana text is very simple but powerful. Meditate on these four limitless attitudes and unify them with your mind. So it's not just words, right? We have to reflect, meditate, immerse our mind, pickle our mind in these attitudes. equanimity, compassion, loving kindness, sympathetic joy. This moistens the mind, prepares the mind for the genuine love and compassion which we are. And then, of course, the bodhicitta mind, which we are trying to, which we hope, aspire to develop, most precious mind. We'll take a short break. People who need to stand, there's toilets, so we could check. Yeah.
This is probably a range. Yeah, it's probably a rangeless job. Fans job. Feels like that. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Tens of my friends who's in Copenhagen right now. Send this.
Stuffy हो रहा था बिल्कुल अभी खिड़की खोल देंगे ना नहीं मिट्टी आएगी अब मिट्टी आएगी गिर गया कोई नहीं बर्दाश्त करना पड़ेगा पंखे के नीचे बैठो या दरवाजे के बाहर बैठिए शुक्र है 50 लोग नहीं बैठे हैं जैसे 50 कॉम्पाउंड में हाँ हाँ तो सारा है या चालू करें दोबारा So meanwhile, while we're the people here are waiting for some tea, we can recite Nara Mantra. Yeah, kya? This is a puja.
This is from Kopan.
Yeah, there. If we were at Kapan, there'd be continuous, wonderful prayers going on in multiple compounds. Tantric compound, main compound, so forth. Anyone who has a chance to go to Kapan should go to Kapan. You should go.
And
Go for a day.
long back.
Stay in Bodha. Go to Kapan. Pay your respects. Of course, they're going to embalm the bodies. So
Yeah, we can go as a pilgrimage. It's going to turn in.
I met you long back.
Huh?
You were in Gopan in late 90s.
1997.
On our honeymoon, we went there to Gopan.
You went to Kapan for your honeymoon?
Yeah, Nepal.
We met you
Great
there.
place to go.
No, Nepal. We were in the Kathmandu and Gopan. I guess.
Oh, okay.
97.
97.
You were there. We have a picture with you.
And you and
Okay, thank you folks online, very patient. I hope you have cold and hot and wonderful drinks wherever you are. We're a bit delayed in our process here. So let's not, when it comes, it comes. So we will continue with the puja, and puja means offering. So it doesn't just mean a whole bunch of drums and sound and food and music, although it's partly that. It should be a joyous occasion, actually, a puja. But it's, of course, especially in Rinpoche's lineage, it's to train the mind, right? It's to change our minds. So if all I'm thinking about is tea, then why hasn't it come yet? Then it's not a puja. That's called craving. That's the opposite of dharma. That's practicing the worldly dharma, which of course I'm very good at. So let's, I'll read some verses from the Tara, from the Chitamani Tara sadhana, which are very beautiful. They are a request to the gurus of the lineage for blessings and inspiration. So it's not very long. So please listen carefully. And if the tea arrives while I'm reciting, that's good, but don't be totally distracted. And we will recite the offering prayer before we drink anything. Namo Guru Aryatara. Homage to Guru Aryatara, source of the most perfect actions of all the infinite Buddhas, having the body of a fascinating and beautiful goddess, to the Divine Mother, liberated from the fears of samsara nirvana. To you I make this request. Bestow on me the highest and common realizations. To you, Gargi Wongpo, who is guided by the Divine Mother and has reached the stage of the 8th Ishvara, to the treasure holder of the vast and profound holy Dharma of Losang Gyalwa Lama Thubten, to you I make this request, bestow on me the highest and common realizations. To the powerful Lama, who like a wish-granting tree bestows highest realizations, which arise from the indestructible root of wisdom and the branches of magnificent understanding, holding the fresh and sweet flavor of teaching and practice. To you I make this request. Please bestow on me the highest and common realizations. Highest realization is Buddhahood. The common ones are anything, leading up to Buddhahood. And things like flying in the sky and knowing people's minds. That's very common. To the powerful jewel ornament of the Nagas, embracing all existence, who is skillful in causing the 4 streams of activity to flow from the vast ocean of his mind, with waves of deep and clear understanding. To you I make this request. Bestow on me the highest and common realizations. You, to the wish-granting gem, the treasure store of precious oral teachings and realizations, rich in pure morality, who ripens all beings, sentient beings' wishes, fulfills them like a fall of rain, thus leading them to liberation. To you I make this request. Bestow on me the highest and common realizations. Your magnificent wisdom is like 1,000 eyes, seeing completely all sutras and tantras of the Buddha. Those transcendental teachings are like the secret treasure. To the powerful one who holds the Vajra, to you I make this request. Bestow on me the highest and common realizations. The most divine and powerful Mahasiddha, who is like a perfect victory banner, guide to all sentient beings, who holds unceasingly the perfect teachings of Jampel Nyingpo, that is, Lama Tsongkhapa. To you I make this request, bestow on me the highest and common realizations. The one rich in realizations of the method and wisdom teachings of Losang Jampel Yang Lama Tsongkhapa, who causes the rain of great siddhis to fall. To you I make this request. Please bestow on me the highest and common realization. To you, who is the magnificent ornament of all those holding the essence of Losang Gyalwa's teachings, having great realizations of wisdom and loving kindness, your divine actions are like a limitless ocean. To you I make this request, bestow on me the highest and common realizations. By the inspiration of blessings of the Lama and the Yidam, that is the Ishtadevta, Tara, and by accomplishing the common path, I can fully comprehend the 2 profound gradual stages of the tantric path. Thus may I quickly see the face of unity of the transcendental Mother Tara. Even if this is not done in this life, then at the time of death, by actualizing the path that unifies the fundamental path and the four emptinesses, may I enter the quick path, which unifies technically the illusory body and the clear light. Thus may I be blessed to destroy the assembly of the enemies, the four maras. May I never be parted in all my lives from perfect gurus. May I put the glorious Dharma to good use by completely achieving all the stages and paths. Thus may I quickly attain the enlightened state of Vajradhara. Vajradhara is the tantric aspect of the Buddha. So now for a while we recite the mantra of Tara and then we'll recite the praises of Tara. So Tara's mantra is Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. And there are many mantras, one for each of the 21 Taras and more, but this covers everything also, the basic mantra. But it's good to learn the other mantras. There are texts which gives the different Taras, what they're specific for, what they're antidote to, you could say, what their mantras are. That can be learned. But the main mantra is Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha. So we'll recite it out loud 21 times, and then like a murmur for a while, and then silently intone it in our hearts for a little while. The light is coming from the divine heart of Aryatara, from the green letter, thumb. You visualize the thumb letter in English or in Sanskrit. And from that, much green light is emanating. And from all the letters of the mantra, light is emanating, reaching all the beings of sentient beings who are suffering, transforming them into Tara and purifying them. And it's also that light is going out and making offerings to all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, countless Buddhas. Every atom, one can imagine, has Buddhas. So therefore, this light is going to all the Buddhas. And from them, there is coming back an incredible purifying blessing stream of light and nectar, which purifies our minds and all the people we imagine around us, mother, father, friends, relations, neutral people, people we don't like, everyone is blessed by this powerful rain of compassion and wisdom coming from all of the Buddhas of the 10 directions, all the beings who have been transformed into Tara. Om Tare Tutare Tere Soha. 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 Om Tare Tere Soha. Om Tare Tutare 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 Tere Soha. Om Tutare Tere Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tere Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tere Soha. Om Tare, tu tare, tu le som, tare, 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 tare. Om tare, tu tare, tu le som, tare, 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 tare, tu le som. Om tare, tu tare, tu le som, tare, 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 tare. Om tare, tu tare, tu le som, tare, tare, tu le som. Om tare, tu tare, tu le som. Lama Thubten Yeshe, Lama Thubten. Go watch it come. Okay.
Shall I add sugar and then we can pass it along? Mention sugar. Yeah, one. We can pass the tea and then pass the sugar. Right.
Feel very happy. Feel all beings have been transformed into Aryatara. And the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are upon us. In a moment, we'll recite the offering prayer and quickly sip some tea over the tears. And then we'll recite the phrases to Tara, which is done many, many times. I remember when Lama Yeshe passed away in 1984, we recited the Tara phrases, the Tushita Delhi, hundreds of times. We did that. Nate, were you there? Nate,
Yeah,
45?
No, we
Yeah.
were there when you did it at night.
85 and
Then we did-
Shantiniketan.
Just after Lama passed away,
Shantiniketan.
in Shantiniketan, we did a lot of
No, I think, yeah, I think.
phrases. Of course, the Tibetans do it at top speed. We're not going to do it at that speed, but we're going to do it at least 7 times, maybe
Sure.
21 times once complete. And we'll see how it goes. Because you have to retire hurt, you can retire hurt for a little while and you have to come back.
I heard yesterday, like, Venerable Rubina was saying that, the one who was passed,
Sorry,
the guru who was passed away is not,
It
is a
is
mentally imputed guru which
Yeah.
has passed away. And his
Everything's
consciousness is, everybody's mentally imputed. His consciousness is still with us.
yeah.
So is it about the universal consciousness we are about?
His mind is merged, I'm sure, with the Dharmakaya. So in that
That's the thing.
sense, it is pervasive. Like they say, if you visualize the Buddha, if you really pray to the Buddha, I mean, the Buddha is there. It's just we cannot see the Dharmakaya aspect.
Yeah.
And we're so gross, we can't even see the Sambhogakaya, the light body, which teaches Bodhisattvas. Because we're not in Bodhisattvas, we can't get teachings from the Sambhogakaya aspect. That's why the Guru has to return in a human form or whatever, as a dog or animal or whatever, to guide us.
So it's not like we are part of same consciousness or.
Well, if we were all part of the same consciousness, then you should feel hungry when I feel hungry. And
Right.
that's not always the case.
Got it. So I got
But
confused,
on
yeah.
another level, you could say we have the potential to be oneness with the Dharma.
Yeah.
And I'm
Got it.
sure the different Buddhist philosophical schools have different views on it. So that's good too. When we get there, we'll know. Until
I
then,
know what I got very
can
confused
study
because
and
one
enjoy.
side we talk
Huh?
about, emptiness.
Yeah.
About, again, something.
There are different views according to different scholars, whether
Yeah.
so universal mind. Anyway, we don't need to worry
Yeah,
too much.
I got it. Yeah.
I think we can be sure that the mind of the Buddhas knows what we're doing here right now, for example. They've always known what we're doing anyway, good or bad,
Right.
right? And they're with us, and Guru, we have the Guru's photo, we have people who've been with Rinpoche. That energy is here. So we needn't think, oh, where is the Guru?
Right.
Okay, let's recite the prayer which you have, blessing the food. Some of you know it by heart, some of you don't. We recite it after every puja, after Sita, food offering prayer.
Mm.
Visualize the Guru in the heart, oneness with Aryatara, Guru Tara in the heart. We offer this blissful food and drink and nectar. It's great bliss to the Guru's mind. Then we can imagine also light emanating, light and nectar, blessing the whole universe. Everybody is being blessed with the wisdom and compassion of Guru Tara emanating from our hearts. Om 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 Lama Thubten Yeshe the Buddha, Guru is the Dharma, Guru is the Sangha, also Guru is the source. And next prayer there. We start the next prayer.
Maybe.
May we and those around us in all future lives never be separated, three groups, continuously make offerings to the three groups, and receive the inspiration of the three groups. The Supreme Teacher, the precious Buddha, the Supreme Refuge, the precious Dharma, the Supreme Guide, the precious Sangha, the Triple Gem, the objects of refuge, I make the offering. Please enjoy it, and it's no harm handing out some of the goodies, especially if some people have to leave early. At least they could have had some
Yeah.
Uh, heavier prasad. Like the mithai from Bihar, for example. Everyone should get a bit of that from both, yeah. Yeah, that's stuff.
You can open this.
Ah. चीनी किसने डाला उसमें?
नहीं
मिलाया?
आपने का 1 spoon था
हाँ जी.
अब वो
हाँ.
You can cut them so everyone gets some. Yeah. एक शायद नहीं होगा. पूरा 16 पीस होगा शायद. हाँ. Pull back on that. Yes.
That even I can tell you.
So I hope everyone online has something to enjoy while we are stuffing ourselves here. Make sure you have something with you. The puja means offering, so it often means during the puja also offering to oneself. Remember Tara at your heart while you eat it.
Yeah. Always.
Kabirji, I know the longer version of Tara mantra also.
You mean the long life one?
Yeah, no, the longer version. Taika Om Tare Tarai, Bhumit Samaya Pidai Tadvaram. Yeah, you have to call out the name of the person whom you want to. So you said there are many other Tara mantras. So each Tara has a different mantra.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a text with that. I'm shared with people later. Each Tara has their own.
Yeah, I think we shared once.
Yeah.
You also cake.
One
You can pass it around.
Yeah, there's quite a few left.
So now we're going to very soon be reciting the
Do you want?
phrases.
Just give it to relax.
So what do I write on the internet
Mhm.
for the mantra? How to get that?
FPMT got all in there.
Because I don't know this long one.
Do in the process.
In phrases 21, Tara?
Should be
Yeah.
considered.
Look, it's how many Tara to 20? How many Tara to 30? I'm expecting something. How many Tara to 30? You begin with that?
If it that mantra, Homish Tara Swiftroy, I write it.
Page 15.
This will keep coming your way, sorry.
Huh.
The English version for chanting, which we will do one time, folks, is on page 24. This was just supposed to be the snack. Folks, the main thing is at the end, this is a quick break. Directly and yeah, ये छोटा break है. थोड़ा खा के तैयार हो जाइए phrases के लिए. You're very hard task master here. Yeah. Anarsa is what? Yeah. Doing puja for. Not fighting for. But pujas are meant to be enjoyable. Some of you may have found Tibetans to be people who enjoy picnics, they enjoy pujas, they take their children to pujas and the children, have a good time. Sometimes, especially, anybody, Western Indian students think the kids are making a noise, but, everyone is to enjoy the puja. So it doesn't have to be a solemn, strict affair. Some of the monks are throwing things at each other and so forth, the younger ones. And they sometimes get hit on the head with a mala, but basically pujas are supposed to be quite good fun also. I guess they think, oh, the high lamas are doing all the appropriate visualizations. We can just enjoy. Kaam jo hona hai, wo to ho raha hai, hum log enjoy karte.
Who is this?
This is Rinpoche Rinpoche. He was a teacher of His Holiness and Rinpoche. Dilgo Chense.
Oh, yeah, I see. Saw
He
it.
died in 1991.
I saw it sometime. Saw his photograph sometime on the Facebook.
Mhm.
I thought he's alive.
Thanks for your patience, people online. How many have they gone down?
No, we've gone up 16. 16.
Mr. Jason, can you check? It'd be nice to see, because we don't need to see the screen. I want to see the view of everybody. The gallery view, whatever. Top right. Top right.
Also teacher to come there.
The gallery view. Okay, thanks everyone. Now I'm just seeing who's there. So thank you so much. We have Ranjit Waliaji, who's also one of our sponsors, very kind sponsors. The other sponsor is here at the puja, Sanjay ji and his family. We have, thank you everybody who's there. Yeah, very kind of you all. Thanks for your patience while we eat things here.
Where is Anita auntie? Where is your auntie?
She
She's
came in.
online.
She said
Oh,
she wouldn't, she was a bit nervous.
she's online.
Oh, yeah?
Did you show your
Oh, that's Auntie, yeah.
your
Auntie, I
painting?
didn't recognize you.
Her painting is a
You look different online, Auntie. Can you see your Manjushri?
Which is the mute.
I can't.
I brought your Manjushri and he was feeling lonely in the other room. That's painted by my aunt, the Manjushri behind me. Yeah. It was commissioned 30 years ago, and there was a little break while she forgot about it. Then she finished it last year. Yeah. Can you just?
30 years. Yes.
Okay. So we should send something up to her. Some prasad. Yeah, take some prasad up on the plate, please.
Yeah,
Auntie, and
flowers.
just a whole mix of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Fruit we can offer later, just the hard stuff, some of the hard stuff. Yeah,
Complete.
go on nasa, David. It's called a nasa.
We'll just bring in a plate and then I'll take it.
He wants this. Girl, please.
Yeah, good.
He wants this.
Okay,
I
21 taras.
Yeah.
Let's remember now. Maria Tara. Ah. We'll start by doing the English version once, the chantable version on page 24.
I do it once every day.
Actually, you could take a sadhana of Pranti as well if she wants to follow it.
Yeah.
There should be a spare para sadhana.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah, he has some courage.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's a whole set, Pradeep.
That can be
whole
sent
set.
up with the prasad.
That's
This next-
Pradeep ji said.
Oh, then there is next box.
Yeah, that one.
No. It's a whole set. I've kept a whole set.
Okay, page 24, chantable version. I'm going to recite that once, then I'm going to recite the Tibetan. That's what I'm used to, and that has a certain power to it. That's how it's been recited by my teachers. And you can then join in Tibetan or in English or just meditate. Like explain to people at Tushita when we do it. Visualizing after each verse, Sakara, absorbing into you and blessing you. Or light is coming from the main green Kara, blessing you. And purifying all of the obstacles to actualizing wisdom and compassion and so forth, and benefiting others. Okay, and yeah, purifying all the obstacles and enabling us to create the causes for the Guru to return quickly. This is the main purpose of this puja, is to generate positive energy, merit, so that the Guru returns in a form that is recognizable, which is recognized, and which is greatly beneficial for us. Okay? It shouldn't take.
Did everyone get fruit? We have a lot of
5 minutes. It's later we can take the things. Yeah, great. Okay, so now the phrases. Page 24, the chantable version. Oh, my prophet, the noble transcendent liberate. Oh, Miss Donna, Secero, from Gomo, next day, all of them, only she whose face combines 100 of them that fall, blazing with vibrating splendor, as a thousand star collection. Only golden blue was for the morning and the dawn, giving effort, calm austerity, patience, meditation, heart. Homage ground of the Tathagata, actions triumph without blame, relied on by conquerors children, having reached every perfection. Homage living with totale, with desire, direction, and space, to feed the 7 worlds, able to uphold all beings. Homage Vajivale, Kola, Shakragini, Brahmamara, honored by the host of spirits, sculptures of Sandarbhatyashans. Homage without them, destroying both magic diagram, top expressing left out right, blazing in a raging fire blaze. Homage to a very dreadful, destroyer of Mother's champion. She with drowning lotus busy, through his layer all enemies.
Homage at the heart of fingers.
Oh, don't always read your notes, like great masses all excited.
All directions sweets adorn.
Homage, she's so joyous, radiant, crowning, making colors of light, overlapping with Tutari, subjugating Maradeva. Homage, she able to summon all the guardians assembly, shaking, crowning with her own side, saving from every misfortune. Homage, crown adorned with present. Moon all must be shining, Amrita in her sending out much light eternal. Homage, she made read the blaze like eon ending fire abiding. Righteous left and joy surrounds you, troops of enemies destroying. Homage, she who strikes the ground with her light with her beats, scouting with the lead of moon. 7 levels she does conquer. Homage, happy, virtuous, peaceful, she who sealed his peace nirvana. She endowed with omens far, destroyer of the great evil. Homage, she rejoices surrounded, tearing both bodies asunder. Praises home and knowledge mantra, arrangement of the 10 letters. Homage to the seed letter, of the shape of syllable. By whose stamping shakes the 3 worlds. Vero, Mandara, and Vindhya. Homage holding in her hand, Piyama Kuno Devale, with thy spoken power and pay, totally dispelling poison. Homage, she whom gods and their kings, and the king are to order, armored in all joyful splendor, she dispels thy dreams and conflicts. This next verse, number 20, is specific for the Tara who is an antidote to epidemics. Homage yields to our ladies of sun and fall, with like Tara and Tutare, she dispels severe contagion. Homage for love liberating, power by the set of three natures, destroy of spirits, yaksha, and grace of the supreme Tore. These phrases with the mantra and prostration, that's on 21. So I'll be doing the phrases in Tibetan now, starting with the invocation on page 14, just for your information. Or we can do the invocation in English. From your sublime abode of the Potala, O Tara, born with the green letters, come, your crown adorned with Amitabha, action of the Buddha the 3 times. Tara, please come with your strength. Lord, Allah, Mr. Dengi, Jagi Pemola today, Kompakun Ledosema, Doma Yum La Chate, Lord, Allah, Mr. Dengi, Jagi Pemola, Kompakun Ledosema, Doma Yum La Chate, Lord, Allah, Mr. Dengi, Jagi Pemola today, Kompakun Ledosema, Doma Yum La Chate, Lord. The phrase it. Om Jai Toma, Pama Toma La Cha Sando, Jose Toma Yoma Pamo, Jenny Kate Loranda, Jitin to Kishan, Kesa Jawa Leni Joma, Jate Dere Dawakoto, Kawagiani Sepesham, Kamato Pazopanamki, Rapuchewe Raparama, Jate Deni Juneki, Pemejani Namrakiema, Jipazo Katojiwa. Zopa something to your nyama, Jate Deshin Chepeto, in Rakewachama, Malo Baroji Pato, Begawas the kitchen to them, Jate to Tara Hongi, Dodan Jolan Kakama, Jidendo Gojakinente, Lopa Mepakupanima, Jate Gaje Meladamba, Lona to want to chama, Jumbo Rolanti Sanamba. No, do it. Dove la veda la becchi, paroto cosa tu gioma, yegan yunkan jaginente, me pato bracento barama, chose genet, chose tu regi pa tiempo, doki pa un brajoma, chige de done denze, da odam tu malizoma, jate con jojo non chage, somo to granam pagiema, malucho ki kotlo giempe, rangi oki sonam soma, jate raptu gawa jipe, Ogena gite wa pelma, chepe rapche tutarai, dodaji dewanto zema, chause zaji gyongwe zona, damje gubanyu manima, tone yue ige huanki, apomba tamche nabradoma, chause dambe dumbe uge, gepa tamche shintu barama, repekona apamele, tabrashindu arabdama, chause kameta memeta, barekengwe onanema, Yekon Yekikineko, Dani Ponin Brajoma, Chase Zagina La Jagi, Tegin and Jagitoma, Tone Jenze Yege Honki, Repato Monanigama, Chase Dema Gema Shima, Yanin de Yonyam. So high the love them, the Pachem Podium Banyama, Chase Koneka Gawe, Dailunin Bragama. Ige Japena Niku, Pere Pahome Domaniama, Chazera Jadidape, Hungi Nabesa Banyama, Rira Mandara Dampeje, Jide Zoa Yoaniama, Chazela Isoinampe, Ria Tache Chananama, Tara Nijo Peki, Donama Lupani Selma, Chazela Isonam Gelpo, Lada Mia Chietema. Kunega Jagawajiki, Soda Milanian Bazalma, Chazeni Madawa Giape, Jenny Polo of Salma, Hara Nijo Totarai, Chinto da Borim Netselma, Chazet Denisonum Kipi, Dive Jodan Dema, Todarola Dojitsona, Jombatore of Joniema, so in Nakita Badida. Chazewani Nisusa Shia. So I'm going to recite it twice more for the moment, and in different tune and faster. You can join in however way you want. You know, it's a bit of a freestyle, but the main thing is to feel Tara and blessings coming, light and nectar. 我们做嘛，把嘛多么拉教子咯，教子多么你嘛把嘛，这里给就拉那大嘛，今天就跟这个下给，跟到这我那里教嘛，教的我看到，干嘛跟你这边讲嘛，干嘛多把手把那给，让都这为了把了嘛。教的就你这你给，本没生你弄不了给嘛，这把做干的这嘛，这把咱们这样年嘛。教的这些年别做，他也弄不来给我这嘛，马路把这把刀背给我这提前都带嘛，家在多大让一的，多到现在我都带嘛，嗯。这都个家今年这路把没把给干你嘛，叫在家前面老当把，老让他做完解决嘛。就把这老的上南的，就在这给的来做嘛，叫在那北给，把路都过来都做嘛。也跟你个家今年的没把都不先都把了嘛，叫在都来就把钱包都给他我把了做嘛。这个都来都来人在老当个嘛来的嘛，叫在个要到家给，都我都干那把给嘛。马来这个那个没人也跟着那走嘛，叫这个这个我几杯，有给你给点我白嘛，这边有钱都打打也，就到这里我到了嘛，叫这个做那那个我你嘛，到这这个给我给，我把他们都不做嘛。叫这做的等的一件跟把他们钱都包了嘛，这别在那办嘞，他们钱都拿不嘛。小的刚没嘛呀，大嘛儿这边都那嘛，也跟着给你搞给，他一过年弄不着嘛，小的这个家给，这给他给多嘛，都是这一个红给，这把都把都那个嘛，小的这嘛给嘛鸡嘛，叫你这些就有你嘛，做呀都得背，你把这把就嘛你嘛。叫这个一到一路你都不得给嘛，一个就被他一个背，你把我那什么你嘛，叫这个人让你那背，你那边什么你嘛，你他们在边这叫那有你嘛，叫这来谁嘛谁，你那大家叫那那嘛，当然你就背给一个，都那么六把你在嘛，叫这来老呀老到没有结的嘛，国内高家高我几天，说到没两年把的嘛。小的你那个你背着你把那了在嘛，好的你就多打了也，这个他没人在嘛，小的听到他们给背，这个在那有那没嘛，多的多了，就把多的都叫你嘛，在为那给他把的，叫在我里你说说，一个你做嘛，把嘛都嘛那叫谁咯，叫在嘛嘛就你个做嘛。这个啥就我就你说嘛，就是这跟着干嘛跟你这个讲嘛，干嘛多把多把那给了不就要让把了嘛。小队给分分钟你都不得给嘛，全都是跟着你，我说我在这样你嘛，小队的就别做错，大爷都不得给我这嘛，马路把路七八多别给我这个这种白嘛，小队都多容易给做到就能刚刚嘛。这个年这路把没把个把你嘛，小队给小妹老能嘛，路能怎么就这嘛，就把你老早早能嘛，就这个就那个。小的就到北给把了到过了不走嘛，一个就给这个年的没把都把进都把了嘛。小的这把这一步都给把我弄不了走嘛，就给那到我上去嘛就走嘛。小的跟着就到这给走那个干嘛？小的跟着给背给上能走嘛，小的把不搞我去背，要给你给点我背嘛。这边的这都到了也都到这边我都在嘛，小的给我走那，看这个把女嘛你嘛，可能有一个给妈妈当家那么的多嘛，小的他们这边给妈他们这都把了嘛，那边看到把们他们亲过了的嘛。小的他们把妹妹大伯这个有那的嘛，也给你给个你搞给，他一过年那么的叫嘛，小的他你就那家给。叫你这个我给你把这个那你给嘛，叫你他妈给嘛鸡嘛，叫你这就有的嘛，所有都准备的把这个就把你嘛，叫这个你给他搞给，他一路你给嘛。一个就被那里给背，你把红的都把你嘛，叫这都得让你打背，给那边就把你嘛。你他们那让他们这都要年嘛，叫这来做那背。你那他就当那嘛，当然你就没给人那么绿帮你走嘛，叫这来一次能给不？老那边有几代嘛，过年个叫个我几给，做到没让你包的嘛。 Chazani Madavake, Petani Bala, Telma, Honani Potara, Sinduka Parim Telma. Chazani Sanamke, Pedivita Yadama, Tobaro Nudisona, Yogato of Janima. Savina Kita Padita, Chate Wani so There's an abbreviated version of the mantra on page 23 of our sadhana. It was received directly from Aryapara by the great Atisha, who actually received a lot of instructions from Tara while he was circumambulating the holy temple in Bodh. And there's still a statue there, which is said to have one that spoke to one of the ones that spoke to Aryapara, to Atisha, said to be great bodhisattvas. They can receive teachings from statues because statues just the appearance, but Tara, any Buddha can speak through anything. Doesn't have to be a statue. Anyway, the holy statue of Tara there. But this was the verse for the people like us in the modern era who are Hariyanas. Oh, I prostrate to the goddess, foe destroyer, liberating Lady Tara. Homage to Tare, savioress, heroine, with the Tare, telling of fears, granting all the benefits with Ture, to go to the sound Swaha, So again, we can recite a mantra for the Lord. Om Tare to Tare. Om Tare to Tare. Om Tare. Om Tare. Om Tare to Tare to
The silent motion has to be 108 times.
It's good. So, several malas. At least 7 or 21
17 and 21.
or 1 month.
21 times I do. In the office I do sometimes, but I do every time.
Right.
I've done this practice number of times, but each time I feel something new.
Right. And now imagine glorious and precious, magnificent Guru Tara. Stay at the lotus in my heart, or perhaps more appropriately for us, stay on the crown of my head. Request Tara to always be there, blessing us on the crown of our head. With your great kindness, take care of me. And I request you, please always grant me the powerful realizations of your divine body, speech, and mind. So imagine that Tara is always there, never separate from us.
Okay. Actually, my dog is with me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. So
Thank you so
Sanjay
much.
ji is one of our main sponsors of Tushita every month.
Thank you.
Us to
Can I
pay
take-
our rents. Thank you.
I'll
Yeah, sure.
keep it for home. One is for my,
Sure, sure.
one
We'll
is,
make a nicer, I'll buy fresh new copies.
one I have,
from
one I
somewhere,
have at my home office.
because these are not very
And
well.
one is in the mobile when I travel. so-
Acha, are you
All
traveling a lot?
Yes, I keep it for all purposes.
Thanks a lot.
You were telling us that 100,000 times also Vajrasattva mantra somebody has done.
Oh, yeah, that's doesn't take long. They do 100,000 prostrations, let alone mantras. The lady who makes some of the sweets that are here,
Yeah.
she did 100,000 prostrations in a couple of months. She just finished.
And
How,
how many
how does one count?
Tata Ding.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
so much.
We count the English way, 1, 2, 3. इनको छोड़ दो ये सब. अब जाइए. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank
Love
you.
to- love for the kids. Yeah.
My words.
Don't get heat stroke.
No, no. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Thank you.
Sanjay ji was back in the old days in Santiniketan. Young student. Now we'll make some offerings to Para. I'll just do it the traditional way, and you can listen and imagine all of the different offerings. Yeah, remember the 8 kinds of offerings symbolized by the bowls, 2 kinds of waters. Two kinds of waters, then flowers, yeah, then incense, then light, okay, then perfume, and then food, and then music. So that is what we'll be offering now, okay? So you can imagine as best you can. And if you're eating food, imagine you are offering to Para, who is receiving much more bliss than we have ever received from food. But she is receiving it. But she's hidden in our hearts, so we maybe don't feel it yet. Om Vajramrita Kuntale Hana Hana Hom He. And then the Shunyata mantra, which reminds us everything is empty. Everything, we offerings, the object, Para, the Buddha, the Guru, everything is empty of inheritance. Om Swabhava Shuddha Sava Lama Swabhava Shuddha Om. All existent phenomena are inherently pure, and so am I. They're of non-dual character. All becomes void out of the void, let it come, it's come. Main thing to remember is that it's getting uncontaminated, inexhaustible bliss. Om Argama Hom Padyama Hom Badra Pipea Hom Om Dupea Om Badra Alokea Om Badra Kendea Om Badra Nudea Om Badra Now imagine from the divine seed syllable thumb at the heart of Tara, on the front of our heads, light is going out in all directions. Invoking all the Buddhas, making offerings to all the Buddhas throughout space, purifying all the sentient beings. I prostrate to your indestructible lotus feet, O dear like Guru. By your great kindness, the state of great bliss can be attained in one moment. I prostrate to the mother upholding the Utpalas, to the divine wisdom action of all of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. O swift one, green in color, with one face and 2 arms, my Ishtadevta from previous lives. Om Guru Arya Tare Sapare Vare Aragam Pratitahum So. Om Guru Arya Tare Sapare Vare Aragam Pratitahum So. Om Guru Arya Tare Sapare Vare Pratitahum So. Om Guru Arya Tare Sapare Vare Pratitahum So. Om Aryatare Sapare Vare Aloke Apatita Humso. Om Guru Aryatare Sapare Vare Gende Apatita Humso. Om Aryatare Sapare Vare Nide Apatita Humso. Om Aryatare Sapare Vare Shabba. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess all negativity. I rejoice in all the merits of all migrating beings. I hold bodhicitta well in my mind. Until I reach enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. In order to attain the purposes of myself and others, I will generate the awakening mind of bodhicitta. Having generated bodhicitta, I will keep all sentient beings as my guest. I will make use of the supreme bodhicitta action. May I become a Buddha for the sake of all migrating beings. Please recollect what it means to hold all sentient beings in one's heart and one's mind, and to invite all of them as one's guests. How do you treat a guest? Remember that, and then imagine all sentient beings I'm going to invite as my guests. How wonderful. Let's reflect on this for some time. Powerful statement. So Shantideva mentions in his great text. The main thing with the guest, isn't it, that we give them a good time and we make sure they are well catered for and well fed and so forth, so that they leave happy, contented. So may we be able to do that for all sentient beings on the temporal and the spiritual level. And as Shantideva prays in his text, may one's being in the world never be meaningless for others, always be meaningful for others. Just one's presence in any way may be a benefit. So while you meditate, or whatever you want to do, I'm going to recite the phrases again 3 times in Tibetan. Please now especially pray for those who are sick and ill, and especially please for the student who is sick with COVID at Tushita, and for our landlady at Tushita, the very kind Brahma Bandari, who is also sick with COVID. May they recover very, very, very quickly, and may this resurgence of the disease in Delhi and other places throughout the world, may it be pacified. And especially we invoke the 20th Tara, whose 2 eyes, the sun and the moon, radiate an excellent illuminating light, who by uttering Hara twice into Tara dispels all violent epidemic. Again, I'll recite the invocation, and then from the prostration onwards, I'll do it in Tibetan. From your sublime abode at the Potala, or Tara, born from the green letter Thumb, your crown adorned with Amitabha, action mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times. Tara, please come with your attendants. La 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 minche pengi, shaki pemola to de, pompa con le dozema, doma yum la cha lo, la 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 minche pengi, shaki pemola to de, pompa con le dozema, doma yum la cha lo, monje toma, pama doma la cha lo. Chate doma yuma pamo, cheni ke jira kantama, jite ke jiki shaki, ke sache wane ni joma, chate la dama kentu, kama keni sepe jama, kapa topa topa namki, rakti chevira parama, chate tene tene kieki, peme cheni namra kiema, jima soto kade jiva, sopa tamka chayani ma, chate tene chepe soto, tayen preke wachama, Tolu para jiva tope, gewa seki cheto tema, chate to tarangi, ke dono kyoto nakakama, jite nuke jakine, Also, yeah, pray for Auntie upstairs. She's not being well. May she fully recover absolutely 100%. And yeah. So the pay again with Belma, Jared out to Torai, didn't Dalma. So the Galpo, Lala Dia Mea Tema, Connected Roma, Chale David, get what I'm just to Barma. Repecana Pamele, the president of the Mars, coming to Meta, Barricade Nema. Yakin you did I put in over Joma, Chidin and the Jagi, taking the Toma, and then you get on gate, a button. Children of Magema, Yanidi, Yonema, Oil, the Passive Motomaniema. So they're gonna go away, I don't know the Gama, you get your penalty, the Papolet of Maniema, Chatetori Danita, Ogina de Sobaniema, Ridamanda, the Village, the Yanima. Chadela is on again, Chadela is on Pede, la Tatanama, Tarani Jopeki, Dono Malukani Salma, Chadela. Lada mia tema, kuneka jagawa jiti, sada melanya patelma, chadeki madhawa ke, cheni palara telma, harani zoto tarayi, sendu da poremne telma, chadeki natanum ke pe, jeve da da tema. Todara la de sana, yamadare rabjani ma, zawina kitabadi da, chadewani ne sota, ye konje soma, pamadoma la chadelo. Chadelo yama, jeni kejilo rama, jeni duka jake jake, kesani hole jama, chadelo edawaka. Kawagani sebe jama, kamato pasama namki, rakte chevi rama, chadene teneke. Peme jeni namreke ma, jimba suzu kozi wa, dopa tamne choyoni ma, chadene jebe toka, tayin preke wachama. Malubara jigata pe, kewa deki jendo tema, chate totorangi ke, toto kakama, jide toka jani nente, leva me pake panema. Chate kine vila lama, lana lana tema, jumburulu tito loma, nete teke kene dama, chate tata tata peki. Para to karaptu choma, yekane kujaki nente, me pato presentu parama, chate tureji pachempo, toki pamono prachoma. Sohoyo da tempe di pacemo giovani ma chate kone karaka ve dani doni namragema yege jabe nani kepe di bahole domani ma chate tore dani na pe hongi na be sobani ma ira mendara dambe je de no yoni ma chate lai so na pe re ata de tana na ma tarani jo pe ki ke dono malukani salma chate lai Yelpo, Navami Ajite Ma, Kunika Jagawaji, Sana Milanya Patalma, Chaseni Malawa Kepe, Jennifer Salma, Haranijo Totara, Yesuda Borena Salma, Chasetina Senekepe, Devitana Dema, Totoro Ritona, Yopatore of Janiama, Savena Kitabadena, Chasewani Nisu, Jigo Jesoma, Pamatoma, Chaselo, Chasetoma Mama, Jedicate Drama. Choteke Jamela Dampa, Luna the one to Chema, Timorola Titananda, Nanditama. Chatedan Beki, Parotokor of the Joma, you can use the Jabinente, Epame Park of Pajima. Chatetore de Bachempo, to keep our Majoma, to get the Dente, Tamutima, Chatekuna Tatake, Tomotoka Pakema, Maluto Kekologe, Rangi Kisanam Toma, Chatera Tukawaji, Pekitawa Pelma, Shepirapsi Totaraye, Tota Dene Mototema. Chasezare son Antoni Gimani, Tony Yamige, Oki, Pamadam de Namadoma, Chatedare de Migan, Kepatam de Chito Parama, Repetana Apame, Tavresindo of Zema, Chate Kametame Meta, Bavite Nema, Yakin Yukinika, Gate, Aibunis Pradoma, Chakidari Dogi, Toki Doma, Tanitinde, Oki, Patomananika, Chadema Gemajima, Janiti Yanema. So how do tempe de pace mojamaniema, chate kone karakawe, tailunina pragema. Yeke benani ke pe de pahone domaniema, chate tore dani dabe, ogina besobaniema. Rida mandara dambe je de dono yaniema, chate lai soi nampe, rata je danama. Tarani je begi ke dono malu pani salma, chate yalpo lada mi je tema. Kune kajaga waji ke sono melanda pasalma. Chadeni Mandawaki, Peteri Pala of Selma, Harani Dotara, Shendo de Pelem Selma. Homage to you, Tara, whose two eyes the sun and the moon radiate an excellent illuminating light by uttering Hara twice and Totara. You dispel all violent epidemic disease. Chadeni Mandawaki, Peteri Totoyala Bema, Tomaru no de Tona, Jumpatore de Nima. Sawinakita Padida, Chazewani Nisu Sai. Abbreviated prayer in English, page 23. Om, I prostrate to the goddess, co-destroyer, liberating Lady Tara. Homage to Tare, savioress, heroine, with Tare, dispelling all fears, granting all benefits with today. Yahweh with the son Saha. Amen. Then there's a prayer called the Benefits Prayer, which I'll read. You can reflect on it. Also a song of songs of longing and making requests. This is like part of it. Alas, Lady Arya, listen a little to me. All qualities of your body, speech, and mind are manifested for sentient beings' sake. You understand well the thoughts of your disciples, and in all the universal conqueror's holy actions, O goddess, you directly appear. So as soon as this name of her who quickly liberates from the samsaric ocean falls on my ears, like the beloved in the heart of a lover, again and again your moonlight body's reflection appears in the dancing lake of my mental devotion. Since in my previous lives without beginning, I've gathered unwholesome karma through defilements, again and again I've fallen to realms of woe and experienced endless, unbearable, violent suffering. Of the bodies I've taken in human migrations alone, the blood and pus would, collected, exceed a great ocean. The flesh and bones heaped up would be taller than Mount Meru. But though I did thus experience violent suffering If, Supreme Refuge, you don't seize me with your compassion, still I shall have to wander much more than that. Alas, oh rescue me from the fears of samsara. Of yore, in the perfect deity land of Tushita, the Supreme Holy Teacher gave utterance to the conqueror's son Manjushri, pronouncing that those who praised with the supreme praises that are taught in the King of Tantras would win immeasurable virtues. If, although with my effort I praised with these praises, recited and practiced, made offerings and requested, if you still see the foul conduct of beings, of times of decline, and Aryatara act with indifference towards us, then what is the use of your names, of specially loving towards inferior beings, Swift One and Savior? However, since your loving compassion is free of near and far, it applies to everyone. Therefore, although with inferior fortune I suffer from my karmic obscurations at present, I've not found another refuge superior to you. So in all future lives, superior deity, will you look after me without parting for even an instant and manifest your supreme face as visual nectar, rescuing from the 8 fears, the outer and inner, your 21 ways of action and all such universal actions, just by thinking, make all these quickly, spontaneously arise. All that hinder my practice of the Dharma, assemblies of human beings, ghosts, spirits, and all interruptions such as the 8 fears, please will you pacify them without exception. Especially, Supreme Refuge, from your compassion in my mind stream, let not perverse thoughts be born for even an instant, but let only wholesome minds arise. Inspire me thus, especially on the sole base of all good collections arising, a qualified, supreme, holy Guru, let me rely correctly with thoughts and actions and follow him as he wishes. Inspire me thus. The base with which Buddhahood can be achieved in one life, this opportune, fortunate rebirth, found but once, perishes as fast as lightning. Let me produce this thought and grasp its essence. Inspire me thus. Driven by the fear of woeful rebirth after death, let me abandon non-virtue and practice virtue. Confess with regret all the sins I have created before and be able to stop them henceforth. Inspire me thus. Like seeing filthy sewage as Amrita, let me not see samsara's perfections as bliss, but produce the mind that wants to be free of it quickly and train in the conqueror's doctrine. Inspire me thus. Since they are tortured by suffering, poor in happiness, let me produce well the thought of supreme awakening, which sets in Buddhahood sentient beings, my mother, and train in the path of conduct. Inspire me thus. Especially let the path uniting calm and insight, the middle view, excellent and profound, be born within my mind stream well and truly, and grasping at extremes be uprooted. Inspire me thus. Then let me enter the supreme vehicle teachings of the Vajrayana, ripen my mind with the rivers of pure empowerments, protecting the vows and pledges that I've taken as the apple of my eye. Inspire me thus. Let me understand rightly the 2 stages, the heart of the various tantras, and then quickly, by good meditation, produce in my mind stream the state of union of the 4 bodies of the Buddha, a wish-fulfilling jewel. Inspire me thus. Showing before each mother sentient being countless emanations. When I'm Buddha earlier, let me transfer them to Buddhahood through the abandonment of all their 2 obscurations. Inspire me thus. Let the realm where I accomplish a conqueror's deeds, my entourage, the measure of my incarnation, and so on, all far surpass even the Sugata all-seeings. To gain these excellent qualities, please inspire me. From now until I reach the supreme point of enlightenment, let me know well that the root of all good collections, samsaric and beyond, is only the conqueror's doctrine. Strive to support and enact it. Inspire me thus. Wealth, respect, fame, desires, entertainments, diversions, let me not enter such actions blamed by the holy ones, but sticking to solitude, thinking well on the meanings I've learned, and do the essential practice. Inspire me thus. Let me realize easily and correctly the subtlest intentions of the conqueror. May all qualities such as the Arya's treasures completely fill my mind stream. Inspire me thus. Through the infinite virtues arisen from this, may I and all other beings without exception be well upheld by the Holy Protector's compassion, never becoming separate from the pure path. Then there is a prayer of the benefits, and then we'll dedicate. This is a long sadhana, which people do if they're doing retreats. So there are many virtuous prayers to be done. We're not doing all of them. Some of them also not appropriate for us. We will do the prayer for forgiveness and request for realization. Because although we've done very, very well, we may have made some mistakes here and there, or had a moment's distraction in the last 3 hours. For all those offerings not fully done, those degenerated, for all those done or caused to be done with my ignorant mind, I request you, please forgive me. For all I've done too much or too little, for all the degenerate practice of the yoga method, for whatever I've forgotten to do, I request you, please forgive me. Bestow on me the most perfect realization and the result of single-pointed concentration. Whatever all sentient beings may wish, bestow on them peerless realizations. This text doesn't have all the mantras of the different dharas. There doesn't seem to be a prayer of the benefits here, but I can tell you there are incalculable benefits to this practice. Anyway, the main benefit we are requesting from this practice is that the Guru return as quickly as possible in a form that we recognize, quickly be recognized by, for example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, receive all the requisite teachings and proper environment for the reincarnation to be most beneficial for others. And for us to receive teachings from that emanation as quickly as is appropriate and possible. Requesting the Bhuvatara for a lot of mundane benefits are given in the benefits prayer. I think whatever good things we're wishing for, they can happen. Especially if we remember Tara morning and evening, daily, it is said. However, our main reason is spiritual reasons. But of course, we need all of the circumstances necessary to practice. So may all those circumstances always be available. Enough food and drink and shelter and conducive conditions to practice. Let's recite slowly the beautiful prayer that Khadrula composed while she was on the airplane between India and Nepal yesterday. When she'd been requested to go to start the embalming process on Rinpoche's holy body, which came out with its subtle meditation a couple of days ago. So she will have started that in process yesterday, which was a Dakini day, a special day. So she started that process yesterday. She's a very special lady. Some pujas with her in Bodh Gaya years ago. exquisite, graceful, wonderful person, and who has been requested many times to do prayers for protection and increase of the activities of His Holiness and other great members. Definitely considered Tara incarnate. So we can be sure that any prayer she has written is sublimely meaningful and powerful. So from our heart, we can slowly all together recite this prayer, which is English. Let's spend a few moments to reflect, really settle the motivation most positively. Remembering the kindness of the Buddha. Okay. Thank you all of you online, your patience. Let's do that. We'll be here. A desperate request for the quick return of Kyabje Zopa Rinpoche. Lama, you know. Lama, you know. I beg you to listen to me, gentle, rude Lama. I appeal to you with a sudden desperate request. Do not deprive us of your compassionate refuge. Lama, you are the blessings of the Buddhas of the 3 times. Even though you are now in the great pervasive bliss of the unobstructed sphere of clear light, it's now that we need your great compassion. Quickly emanate the supreme body of the transcendental wisdom emanation from the various emanations of the dance of the great compassion of the Supreme Mind. Arise, rise, return from the sphere of the Dharmakaya. I invoke you, I invoke you, I invoke you for the sake of beings. Do not remain in the pure land of Dakini and other pure lands. Please return at once to make the scriptural and realization teachings flourish for sentient beings of the world to the south. Come back right away, because the desperate beings are kind and are desperately calling you. They want to see you. They want to be blessed in body, speech, and mind. We are the sentient beings hallucinated and confused by the conception of ignorance. In the sphere of the luminous emptiness of the 3 supreme bodies, we confess the samayas that we have degenerated. Let there be the auspiciousness of emptiness and compassion, the supreme auspiciousness of all efficiency. Let there be the auspiciousness of the quick meeting of the disciple and the Lama. By the power of the truth of unchanging reality, may the perfect reincarnation quickly appear. I, the Dakini, with pure faith, in sorrow and weeping in despair, due to the blessings of the 3 roots, may the wishes of this beggar be fulfilled. Object, subject, and action in the sphere of the reality of luminosity and bliss. Ah. On the special day of the Dakini, in a state of great distress, these prayers came to Yogini Kadro Serikma. So there are many hundreds of dedications we could make, and one of the attributes, keynotes, one of the signs that one was receiving a teaching from Rinpoche is that it could go on for half an hour. That, you said, oh, thank goodness, the puja's over. And Rinpoche would dedicate for half an hour, or 3/4 of an hour. But we won't do that, I think, today. But we'll just remembering, keeping in mind the fine Guru. And for everything, basically everything comes under one short sentence in one way, that all may we fulfill all of the wishes, all of the holy wishes of the Buddha. That is basically it for the centers, for individuals, for practice, for world peace, for there not to be famine, for rain to fall on time. All of these things are so necessary now desperately in this world, suffering from mistreatment. So we need more than ever our prayers and appellations for goodness of all kinds to flourish. And as Shantideva says, for beings to think of benefiting one another rather than just competing, harming, so forth, exploiting. So may beings be wise, know when to stop in their technological experiments. May we take care of Mother Earth, which is the source of our living, our water, food, great plants and trees, the planet. And especially we dedicate that all Rinpoche's centers and all of the Dharma practitioners put into practice what Rinpoche taught so powerfully in this life. And that may we may join up again with those teachings as soon as possible. And in fact, may those teachings never decline because must be practicing all the time. Keep the heart, which is advice, not to stretch out the legs too much, not to relax too much, but to keep sentient beings in our heart, about sentient beings as our guests, take care of them, their suffering. Remember, for example, Vimlakirti's words to Manjushri, Vimlakirti Sutra, Vimlakirti Nirdesh, where he says that the Bodhisattva thinks of all sentient beings as their only child. And when the child is sick, then the parents are sick. So like that, may we feel the suffering of all sentient beings, care for them. May we never be separated from the authentic teachings and the authentic teachers in this and future lives. Always meet up with the Guru, whatever circumstance, even if we go to hell, may the Guru manifest there and guide us, quickly hook us in the hook of their compassion. May we always have opportunities to serve the Guru, both materially, serving body, speech, and mind, and practicing what the Guru advises. As one of my Australian friends so amazingly said, he said, there's no such thing as a request from the Guru. Matlab, whatever the Guru says, it's like a command. Do it. So may we be like that. May we never forget to generate sadness, renunciation, great compassion for beings. Spend a few moments dedicating in your way, and for all the people who are sick, ill, and sad, and lonely, hungry, thirsty, bereft of any refuge or helpers, may we become their refuge, their helper. We pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, all the other great lamas still living, and Taisita Rinpoche, who soon will teach at Tushita, we hope on the 26th, and then also His Excellency Ling Rinpoche, Tomsa Rinpoche, Mingyur Rinpoche, Swami Rinpoche, Chökyi Nyima Rinpoche, all the great lamas of all the 4 schools, all the practitioners, of all the traditions, may they have long and healthy lives, may all their wishes be fulfilled. Great Sadhu, Adula, all of them have long and healthy lives. May all the prayers being conducted right now at Kapan Monastery and Nunnery by so many monks and nuns, may they bear their fruit. Immaculate Malaysian body manifest for us. Yanjo Zanjo Rinpoche, Makir Panam Kekurache, Kiapa Nyamba Mepa Yang Gongne Gonjo. Gangri Dawe Kodwe Jingam De Pendan Dewa Malu Jungwen Chere Ziwan Tenzing Yapsu Yabe Zite Bardu Thank you. Okay, I think good for today, folks. Thank you so much, those online for staying there. And of course, thanks beyond words to those who helped set up today the puja in all manner of ways, working for the last few days, so forth. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, we did pretty good. Almost the Tibetan length puja. Not quite, but almost there. Next time we'll beat the 3 hours. Not bad. Thank you everybody online. Edda, Apurva, Isabel, Ranjit ji, Rowena, Rana Saab. Who's that at the bottom of in the middle? M. Who's that?
Marus.